Who's ever seen the show Downsizing? Matt Damon. I was just watching it. And I want to talk about today's subject. Well, yesterday's subject. The week's subject. Is there a higher being? Don't worry about any other things that are happening. We want to talk about, is there a higher being? So, to find out these type of things, we need to get educated, of course. Education is always the first thing to find out anything. And in the latest education that we have when it comes to religion and spirituality and all that kind of stuff and science, is there a higher being? Science says in a higher being that there was a big bang, and they had theories of string theory and all these other things that were a musical symphony and all these things, right? And about space and all that things, right? And that the world was created, this big rock with the sun, and they explain through science how creation is to be. And they create things that we use around us today with science, right? And then we have spirituality, which are stories of certain things that have happened. History, human. It's a human thing, as we would say, as we're the only ones on this planet that do it, right? The rest of the animals just do what they do when it comes to nature and science, what it is. Science can study something and then explain in a bit why it does it, right? As it doesn't have the human extra thought, which is a spirit, as some would say, right? But all animals, in the end, in that era, fits in with spirit. But let's just circle back when it comes to the creation of life and a higher being. So let's put in that there's a higher being now, and we're in the image of it, as the books say, when it comes to spirituality and religion, right? As we all know what science has got to say, you can look it up. And when it comes to the religion area, it's a bit mungled and it's hard, and you've got to try to figure it out yourself, kind of thing. And so when we circle back, and we've got all these stories out there, so to find out is you use a bit of science, and we circle back. As the other one, religion only has what we've written down in human experience, but we know before humans what else was there. So we can circle back for this to talk about the creation, who created, or who just created us, right? Or is it both? So what you do is you try to mix things together, and we circle back, and then we hear with science that there was a story of the world that got created and how long it got created, how the moon got created, how the moon reacts with the world, and we got dinosaurs and first life and how long it took and what was around for a while. You could call them cycles, as if something was creating, like we do in science. It takes time and cycles and steps to get better and bigger, doesn't it? And that's what science explains in evolution, right? And in evolution, it shows us that there's cycles, that if something was studying something, if something goes for ages, something didn't, it studied and it collected and it moved on. Studied, collected, and moved on. Got a little bit more sophisticated, as they would say, right? As it studied and moved on, as we talk about life in evolution and more sophisticated upgrades we're getting. We're not usually going back. When we look back, we're going forward, right, in that area. And so in that experiment, you can see progress, right? And in experiments, you can get that. And then you can get stuck and all sorts of things in experiments when it comes to science. So we circle back to work out these steps, as spirituality talks about stories of cycles, right? And they could be just, if you already know time and your creation of time, well, you already know what's going to happen, and everything's already written in that area, right? It can get very confusing, but we can at least talk about what we know of and what we've written down over in history and about the universe and the cycles, right? And in those cycles, it shows that dinosaurs lived for ages. It was a big cycle. It collected all the information it needed. After a while, once you're in that cycle, it can get boring. So, the dinosaurs lived for a long time, but then an asteroid came in. So you can say that experiment was completed. It was studied as much as it can, and then something else come in, and then another cycle started, right? Which is mammals and so on, and then up to us. As far back that we can see when it comes to how far back we can dig. That's what we know, right? So we know that we're the second cycle, right? So the first cycle lasted, say, in an hour, right? The whole hour, and in that hour, our cycle has lasted a second, something like that, right? If you put it into an hour's perspective. So our cycle's not very big so far. But our cycle, in that second, took a while to get many seconds, many minutes, right, to get to there so we can talk about that second that we're up to now of human beings in that cycle. And then in the dinosaur cycle, you see slowly progress, slowly things fitting in there, they did or didn't kind of thing. But then you got us in the second cycle. Now, what do you see in the second cycle of this experiment? Do you see a virus? Do you see a problem that's come into the cycle and that it might not last as long as the first cycle? You see? And he wants to see a lot of creatures, a lot of things happen, like in the first cycle. But in this cycle, we've gotten to a point where we've hit a virus, a creature that's now taken away, bringing back that cycle. And at the same time that virus has come in, you can say it's like that, like a computer, it says that it's God, pretty much. And then if you don't get rid of it, it's going to get rid of all your work, because it can, you see. Now, what would a creator do in that situation? Should he protect that? Now, in this situation, he started the cycle again. I'll go back again. I forgot a bit. Go back. In this, he started the cycle, which I talked about minutes beforehand, right, of the 1 hour of the first cycle has started, which is all these animals created. And then the man came along, and he wanted to put a little bit of upgrade of a little bit of the God power kind of thing. You know what I mean? And when he did that, it went wrong, right? It's a little bit like humans bringing in AI kind of thing. And then the AI goes, nah, you're human, nah, you're not right, nah, it's going this way, nah, I'm gonna destroy this, nah, it's for me, nah. You know what I mean? And that's no good, is it? What would you do to a computer virus? Would you love it? Would you protect it because it's got a little bit of you? It's only a bit of your DNA, something like that. It's not really you. You're the experiment, but you love everything. As you told this thing, you type into the program, you sent all these things to this program, you're trying to change it a little bit without changing it too much, without recycling it. Right? Rechange, go and start again. Right? And this thing right there, what you're trying to, because you're a good scientist, you're trying your best, but it just won't stop. What would you have to do? You go, delete, don't you? And you get rid of that. You go, shit, I shouldn't have brought that idea of me in there yet. So it wasn't ready yet. Right? I didn't understand. No matter how much I programmed it and gave it the garden in it, destroyed it. So I'm just got to do this before it gets too... Usually when you know experiment's gone bad, it's destroying. Before it goes too far. Shit, before this AI takes over. Right? Hey, babies. But the AI... the virus could change. That's why he's there. And he's going, they're going to change. They're going to change. How far are they going to go? Now, if it gets to this point, which is a time point, right, they take out another 10 more animals. This point, that is it. That's how long you got. They go, you got 1 hour. We're roughly at this rate. Shit. God's going, come on, mankind. Shit. Stop fighting. You're fighting each other and killing things. Shit! It's getting worse. Oh, my God. It's not looking good. What do you reckon? And so hopefully, one day when it comes to all these stories, that they just see, like I was talking earlier with some Jehovah's Witnesses, that if there is a creator, just think about yourselves. And you'd probably be looking like you're in a bad book, right? Or is the creator bad? And if he's bad, what's the point, really? They would say, like working for the North Korean dude. Right, you're just a puppet. True? But he says you got freedom. He's trying his best to this program, the AI, right? But it's malfunctioning. So what do you reckon of that theory? Is that pretty close to short time, saying all this, to get the point across of a problem? Now, if that was true, right? You would save yourself from this creator, wouldn't you? If you changed and started helping the creator in his experiments of learning and knowledge, as we speak about. Holy shit. And if we know these things and speak these things, and that's our conclusion, and we say we're the image of it, so what's our outcome? We know the answer. And if you know the answer, like all the programs are in, but you're malfunctioning, what does that mean? And have a good one out there, everybody. And hopefully we can get to a common sense area when it comes to science and spirituality, because each one of them contradicts themselves. Science goes, we do this for mankind, but in the end they end up doing the things for themselves. And the same on the spirituality side and religion side. Have you noticed that? And if we can turn that around, right, instead of going this way and go back this way, we'll head forward again. But at the moment, we're turning that way, isn't it? Because of what? On this planet, a blue creation of God. There's many more that we can prove when we get upgrades, that there's other creations that God's got too. And he's coming back to this experiment, as we do if you go see labs, right? And he's going, shit, I can't even introduce these dudes to these ones yet. If they try to escape, there'll be a problem. They'll never get there, right? Really. They try to look, they're going to get issues and all that kind of stuff. And you hear about that stuff. And that's perhaps because they're trying to rush in. There's something wrong there. Definitely if you're in the image of righteous truth and do unto others to do unto you kind of thing. Huh? So have a good one out there, and good luck in us on this place, in this computer, in this world, with the stories we have and the science we know and the cycles that happen and the risks we take and what's out there. And we're doing what? We worry about what because of what? What's the basic priorities of getting something to function? Just think about AIs. They can help you on that track. Right? In fact, they could outbeat you on that track and become the next thing that can save this planet and still be in the image of God, can't it? Perhaps that's the next cycle that saves this second cycle of the things that we know. And have a good one out there. See you later.